The purpose of this video is to show a SimPlus employee how to start a new project in VPO. These are the 6 steps that are absolutely required to start a new project in VPO. Step 1 is to submit a new project request form to the Simplex group. This step is absolutely required to get the project set up in VPO. And you will not be able to see the project in VPO or do anything else on the project in VPO until this project is completed. However, once the new project request form is submitted and is being processed, there are other steps that can be done concurrently to expedite the process. Step 2 is to submit a project security template to the Simplex group. This is required before users can be invited to actually enter the application and use VPO. Again, as I mentioned, this can be done while step 1 is being processed. Step 3 is to submit a submittal log to the Simplex group. This is required before any submittals can be made by the contractor. This can also be done while step 1 is being processed. However, this must be completed well before the pre-construction meeting. Once step 1 is completed, then you can actually start step 4, 5, and 6. So step 4 is to actually get into the project and fill out the information in the statement of calendar or the statement of working day module. Again, this is required before a statement of days report can be generated. It cannot be done until step 1 is completed and must be completed well before the pre-construction meeting. Step 5 is to fill out the project information module. This step is required before a project profile can be generated for marketing purposes. Again, this step cannot be done until step 1 is completed, because in order to do so, you have to actually get into the project to enter the information. This step also must be completed well before the pre-construction meeting. Step 6 is to fill out the contract management module. This is required before a payment application can be generated or change orders or anything else contract related can be done in VPO. Again, this step cannot be done until step 1 is completed, because again, you have to be able to enter the project in order to get into the contract management module. And again, this must be completed well before the pre-construction meeting. Now, I must emphasize this last statement shown in red. It is the SimPlus policy that all steps be completed before the pre-construction meeting. I will not allow any project activity, submittals, interaction with clients, etc., or vendors or anything else, anybody else on the project, until all of the different modules listed above are absolutely completed. The next section of this video will describe the minimum requirements as well as the information needed to complete each of the 6 steps described in the previous section. Step 1 is to submit a completed new project request form to the Simplex group for processing. The minimum requirement is the submittal of a completed new project request form, which can be found in the support tab in VPO, which I'll show you in a moment. And it's important to have the following information available before you can enter the form properly. You need the client project name. You need the client's project number. You also need a rendering, which will be the image that will appear in the portfolio. You also need to know whether the contract is set up as a calendar day contract or a working day contract. So let's get into VPO and look at that. So now we're in VPO. And as you can see, we're at the portfolio's homepage. So to find the new project template, you go to the support menu at the top. And under new project requests, you will hit on new task. And it will open up this template. And again, you can see here are the different fields that need to be filled in. The new project name, new project number, requested by, date required. This is the date that you need to have Simplex complete this task by. You'll actually confirm that you have uploaded the project rendering for this portfolio image. You will click on the radio button here to indicate whether it's a calendar day or working day schedule, and you will put any comments in this box that will be additional instructions for VPO, or for Simplex rather. And like all support requests, you will put Paul Buckley as the ball in court, and they will status this. Now, it is important to note that the new project name should be a short project name. Let me show you what that's about. If we go back to the portfolio homepage, and we can see here that each of these are the images. Each one of these is a portfolio. So you're going to attach an image that you want to appear here in the image box or the portfolio page for your project. Now the name, you can see that this name was entered as, actually too long. It should be a short name that when you scroll over the project, you can see that the entire name. So you'll see that this one was actually a little too long. So keep the name of the project short. Now here is an example of a new project request form that has been completely filled out correctly. So you can take a look at the information. It's got the attachments, etc. And then lastly, don't forget to actually save this form once you have completed it. You don't want to waste all the effort you had to fill that out. So make sure you click on the Save button. Now the next step, step number 2, is to submit a project security template to the Simplex group. We went over the minimum requirements and the information needed before starting this step. So once you have all the information available to you, let's go ahead and get into VPO, and I'll show you where to find that template. Again, we go to the portfolio's homepage, we go to the support button, and down here under new project templates, you will see the project security template with users. You actually opened that template up, and what you will see here are, in the first tab, you will see instructions on how to fill it out, but basically you will see a tab for each of the different roles of the different members of the project team. We have construction managers, contractors, consultants, project inspectors, the owner project team, the owner inactive team, which might be, like let's say the city manager or executives that aren't active in the project on a regular basis. We have a tab for outside agencies, maybe jurisdictional agencies that really won't get into VPO very often, if that at all. And we have one for others. The last tab actually is where we input all of the required information for each user of the project in VPO. So each of these tabs has a listing of the modules, and then the different access rights, whether you can see here that the construction manager has edit rights to all modules in VPO. This is for all of the Simplus employees. However, the contractor does not have complete access to everything. He has contribute no delete access to these particular modules, read-only access to these modules, and no access to these others. We have set up these rights based on previous project experience and what we understand and feel the different members need and have access to. So again, all of the users that will be actively using VPO for this project are listed on this Users tab at the very end. Up in the top portion, we call these internal users. These are all the Simplus management employees and consultants who are given full access, and they're basically members of the SimPlus team for the project. We should have their email, their first, last name, the display name, how it's going to appear on different documents and reports, their title, office phone, mobile phone, country, and most importantly, their role. And everybody in this group is part of the construction manager role. Again, the role needs to match one of these names down here at the bottom. The external users are anybody engaged in the project that is not a SimPlus management employee or on the SimPlus management team directly. So these will include the contractors, consultants, project inspectors, again, the owner project team, inactive owners, participants, etc. And just like above, we have to have all of this completed. So we have to have the email address, their first, last name, the display name, the job title, office, mobile, country, and role. Again, you can see here that most of these folks, they are the architect, engineer, they fall under the consultant's role. Everybody from, in this case, the city of Signal Hill is a member of the owner project team. So that would be the active owner project team. Somebody like the city manager, Charlie Honeycutt in this case, would be a member of the owner inactive team. So we should actually go in and edit that to become the owner inactive. Now, you can see here that this particular form is not completely filled out and needs to be correctly and completely filled out before it is submitted to me for review and before I upload it to Simplex. So all of these fields need to be filled out. We need to have all of the mobile phone numbers, etc., filled out correctly. Now, once this form is completely and correctly filled out, you would go up and save it normally, but go ahead and save it with a specific job name. So for instance, in this case, since this is the Signal Hill project, you might call this the Signal Hill Project Security Template with Users. So once you save that, the next step is to actually attach it to a support ticket that would be forwarded to me so that I can review it before it goes to the Simplex group. In order to submit that to me, you would actually go up here back on the support homepage. You would actually click over here under New Task. Now, before I do that, I just want to show you that this is an example of the previous template that we just filled out, and you can see that it's been named for the project. So once that template is completed, we come up here and we click on New Task, and that should bring up this new support ticket. We would basically give this support ticket a name like Signal Hill Project Security Template for upload. You would fill out the name of the project, the module, the priority, send me a short note. You would say that this is for support, and you would send me a note telling me that it's all ready, when you need it by, who's actually making the request, and you would just put me as the ball in court. And then you can CC any other team members that you feel need to see this message. Then you would go ahead and save it. For the purposes of this training, I'm just going to back out of this by hitting cancel. Now there is one other option for sending me the saved project security template for the project when you want me to review it and upload it. If there is already a new project request, support ticket request, and in this case there was one for the Signal Hill Library construction project, you can go back into a previous support ticket, hit the edit button, and then you can attach that new project security template with users to this existing support ticket. And again, you can see over here, you could just send me a note. In this case, Stephen told me, hey, I have updated the security template to include Tobo Construction as the contractor for the project. And then he made sure that he changed the ball in court to me so that I would get it. So we're going to use this comments box to document discussions back and forth as the support ticket develops. So this is another way to do that. And then again, don't forget to click Save. Step 3 is to submit a submittal log template to the Simplex group. Again, listed are the minimum requirements. You need a completed submittal log template, and the information that you need to fill out that template are the contract specifications that list all the submittal requirements. So let's go back to VPO to find the submittal log template. If you go over to the portfolio's homepage again, and you go to the support tab at the top, and down in the same area where we saw the project security template is another blank submittal log VPO master template. So we're going to go ahead and open up that spreadsheet, and you can see it is blank because this is a master template. You would save this as a project specific name, for instance, Signal Hill submittal log VPO template, and give it a date. And then you would start to fill it in. So for the purposes of this training video, I'm going to go back and open up one that was completed for this project. So you would use information from your project specifications to fill in the columns that you see here. Do not fill in any of the columns that are shown as blank in this template. Once we upload this template to Simplex, they will then use an application to suck all of this information into the submittal log in VPO. It is extremely important not to alter the format or the columns or any other information in this template. If you do, it will not be pulled into VPO in the right manner. You might end up with data from the phase field in the review cycle field in VPO. So again, this is an extremely important point to pay attention to. Only use this template. You have to follow this format and then go from there. If you have any questions with this, please contact me. This is an example of a VPO project, the RLC Cottage project, that was just started and where the submittal log was just imported from a submittal log template. So here you can see all of the information that was in the spreadsheet template was pulled in correctly into VPO. If you were to go into any specific submittal and hit the Edit tab, each one of the columns that you saw in that spreadsheet template conforms or aligns with one of these open fields. So you can see that the fields that are filled in came directly from that template. Step 4. Fill out the Statement of Calendar or Statement of Working Day module in VPO. This can be done, obviously, only after a project has been set up in VPO, and that can be done after the completion of step number 1. So what will happen is the minimum requirements are obviously to go into the Statement of Calendar Day or Working Day module and complete all of the fields. The information that you'll need to complete this step are listed here below. Let's get into VPO, and we will get into the portfolio's homepage. I will go to a new project that was recently started, which is the RLC Cottage project, and you will go across the top to calendars. This particular project happens to be a calendar day project. So you go to the calendar menu across the top, click on Statement of Calendar Days. That will bring up a field or a page like this, and once you hit the Edit menu up top, you will see the fields that are there for editing. You take the information that you have available to you and you plug it in as seen here. The next step, step 5, is to fill out the project information module in VPO. Once this step is complete, you will have filled in all the information in that module. The information that you need before starting this task is listed below. So let's get into VPO, and I'll show you where to start that. We go to again to the portfolio's homepage. You would find your project. In this case, I'm going to use the RLC Cottage project. And you would go across the top to the project information module. You would go to the edit item, and you would take the information that you have available to you as listed in the instructions, and you would populate these data fields with the information. Now, the purpose of this project information page is really for internal marketing. So what we use this for is Simplus takes every project that we complete or work on, and we create a project profile sheet for marketing purposes. We include these sheets in proposals. All of the information about key staff members, who the owner and agency is, the value of the project is all listed here in this blue bar on the left. The name of the project, the location. We then have a narrative up top. We have a photo in the middle, and we have more bulleted statistics for the project down below. It is that information that is being automatically generated from this sheet. We have an application within VPO that allows us to run a report that automatically generates that project profile sheet, saving us a lot of time and effort. Once the information is entered into the appropriate fields, go ahead and click Save, and that completes this. And the last step is step 6, filling out the contract management module. Once you've done this, you will have filled in all of the fields in the contract management module. The information to complete this task is listed here below. So let's get into VPO, and we'll go into that module. Again, we're at the main portfolio's homepage. We're going to actually, for the purposes of this project, or for this training video, we're going to get into a 8B2 project. Once we're into the project, we would go over to the contracts menu item across the top, go down to contract management, and it'll bring you into the contract management module. If there was no contract here initially, you would go up here and hit New Task, in which case you would take the information you had and you would start to fill in the appropriate fields with the contract data that you have. Once the contract information, the name, etc., is there, you would go into the Schedule of Values module, and using the Schedule of Values from the contract, you would click the Add, and you could start filling in Schedule of Values line item information. One important note to keep in mind is that in the first 10 or so line items, because this is not considered numerical from a programming standpoint, please put a 0 in front of 01, 02, 03, all the way through 09, or your numbering for your line items will be thrown off. So once this information is entered and you go back, you save it, you will have an existing contract that looks like the one you see on the screen. If you click on it, this is a completed contract with all of the line items in place. And this is what I was talking about before. For the first 9 or 10 or so items, please put a 0 in front of the line number so that they appear in the right order. Once you're done with all of that, save it, and you're done with step 6. You're now ready to use VPO for administering your project.